People have this wrong notion that using references means that you're cheating. That's incorrect. I showed those vintage animation videos, like you saw Disney people working on the animation. Please don't draw. Let me disable this. Okay. You saw those Disney people actually acting out the parts that they wanted to animate. So there's a reason behind this. We are not smart enough to remember things accurately in order to portray it correctly. Okay. We see people walking. We also walk and we see people walking. But if someone has to create a character walking, they will not be able to do it if they don't have a proper reference. Okay, you need something to look at. You need the proper timing of when an action is being played out, because we are not smart enough to have that kind of a memory in our brain. Okay, it's not possible. Of course, there are rare people who have an eidetic memory. So those people can remember everything that they see. So they already have the references playing in their minds. So of course, that is a complete rare occurrence. I haven't come across any person like that. Now, this reference thing is not only with animation. It's for anything that you do which is related to art. Okay. If you do things without references, like you're a beginner artist and you're starting without references, your work will not look right. It will not look natural. Of course, when it comes to abstract stuff like random paintings, then things are different because you're playing with your imagination. But when you're trying to recreate something which already exists in reality, it's very important that you have a proper reference. Otherwise, the output will be very unnatural. It will look weird. You might feel proud that, okay, I did this without reference, but it will look really bad. 99% of the time, when people starting out do work without references, it's not good. Okay, you have to understand this. People who have trained for over 20 or 30 years, maybe they can get away without using references, but it's not possible for people who are new. Okay, so please remove this notion completely. Now, when references come into animation, this doesn't mean that we take a reference and we follow it directly, because that doesn't require as much skills that it would require to improvise it. Okay, improvisation means making something cartoonish. Okay, so there are definitely types of animations where you are required to actually copy the poses completely. Like when you're trying to create any quadruped animation. By quadruped, I mean four-legged animals. Like if you're trying to create a dog walking, a dog running, or maybe you have taken a lion's video where the lion is just sitting and then the lion stands up or does any kind of a stunt. So in those cases, you have to follow things exactly the way it is shown. If you don't do that, it will look highly unnatural. Okay. Now, of course, if you're trying to make something cartoonish, because of course we have definitely characters like dogs in movies which are supposed to be cartoonish. If you guys have heard about Secret Life of Pets, you will see lots of dogs and cats in those movies. So of course those are exaggerated and those are cartoonish, but they still take reference from real footages. Okay, they cannot just animate out of their own mind. So I hope this is clear to everyone, because a few days ago someone said that we shouldn't be using references. So I just wanted to make it clear today. Okay. All right. We want to use the reference, but how to do that? We'll do that by importing image plane. Now, what is an image plane? In Maya, I think everyone has actually worked with image plane. Even the ones who are completely new, they have done modeling in it, so they know what an image plane is in Maya. So I don't have to go through the basics of that, but we need to know how to import it. Now, most of you have worked with a single image, but you haven't worked with a sequence. What is a sequence? A sequence is basically number of frames that you have in a video. Like, as I said, a video is a collection of images. So let's say you saw a really cool video of a person doing a stunt. Okay, you saw it on YouTube and you want to animate something like that. So you first of all, you download that video. Then you can go to any video editing software and you can export the image sequence out of it. I will quickly show that. I personally use Premiere Pro. So I'll show that. 1 minute. All right, so this is Premiere Pro, okay? And I just cut a part of a video and I dragged and dropped it here. All right, so I'm showing this because it's really important, because we cannot bring random image sequences to Maya, because if the naming is incorrect, it will not work. So this is very important. So I have the video. I want image sequence out of this. So I'll go to export. Okay, so first of all, you can use PNG or JPEG, whatever you want, not an issue. Okay, so I will click on JPEG and I'll create a folder. And now we have to take care of the naming. You see the kind of name it has. It has the original video name. So there are characters there are numbers, and then we have these symbols. Now, if you export your image sequence like this and you bring it to Maya, it will not work. Okay. So to bring something, to bring any image sequence to Maya, it's really important that we have only characters in the name, alphabet characters. Okay. So I will just type ref here. Okay. Only alphabet should be there. No numbers, no other symbols, just alphabets. So you can name it with whatever you want to name it as, and then I'll hit save. And we also have this quality option here in Premiere Pro. So let's say if your video is of a really high quality, a 4K video, so if you export it at full quality, it would be like it could make your Maya slow. So you can reduce the quality a little, so the file size will be less and it will play properly in Maya. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to show. I'll cancel this right now. See, whenever you get a video, like videos have different FPS rate. In Maya, when you're working in 24 FPS. So if you take a video which is having 30 FPS and you bring it like that, the timing will look very weird because you're playing a 30 FPS video on 24 FPS frame rate. It will not look right. So when we bring a video, we change the frame rate. So I'll change it to 24, press OK. Now I will export it. Drop the quality and click on export. Let's wait. It's taking time because I took a really large sequence. Okay, it's done. Let's see. So you can see now we have the full sequence of the video. So multiple images. All right. Now we want to get it into Maya. So I will copy this path, come over here, open two views so that you have two views of the viewport. It's very important that if you're importing an image plane, you do it in the orthographic views. Orthographic view means front, side, top, bottom, not the perspective view. It should be completely at 90 degrees. So all of these front, side, back views are completely like that. So you don't have to worry about anything. Just click on these two views and it will automatically open the front view for you. Then you go to view, image plane, import image, and get your reference, open it. So you can see the reference is there, but if I hit play right now, nothing happens. Why? Because it is not actually set to use image sequence. So what do we have to do for this? Channel box is open right now. We have to go to this attribute editor and we can now see the settings for our image plane. So you can see this little option here, use image sequence, just enable it. And now you can see it is playing properly. Okay, it is 24 FPS, our scene is set to 24 FPS, so it's correct. So this is how we properly import references. Okay. Now let's get our main reference, the football reference that we need to use. Okay. So again, it will not play right now. I'll click on use image sequence. Now I can play it. Okay. Okay. So now the thing is that if I scrub through here, you can see there is a person holding the ball and they slowly throw it like this. So that is a problem because I don't want to animate this part. I want to animate from here. You see from the 10th frame where the ball is just falling down. I want to animate that. These beginning frames I don't want. Now there's a reason why I've kept these frames in the video. Like I could have just cut out this part while I was editing. But oftentimes this happens that we want to, get the video from a particular frame. We don't want it to play from exactly the first frame. So how do we do that? First we need to see which frame, from which frame we want the animation to start. So I'll scrub through it. And I think, yes, after 9th frame, everything is good. So this is what I want. Now we can easily change it. We have this frame offset number. So if I type 9 here, you can see this changed. Let me undo it once. You can see on this first frame, this ball is on the palm of this hand, right? Like this person is holding the ball. Now I know that from 9th frame is what I need for my animation. So I'll go to this frame offset, type 9 and press enter. What it did, it just shifted my image sequence. That's all. Nothing else happened. It just shifted the image sequence. So now you can see we got exactly what we wanted. Now it didn't delete those frames. They are still there. If we go to the minus side, we'll see it is actually there. You can see this offset word here. Basically, it just shifts the frame for us. Okay. So let's say if I wanted the video to start, around here, I could just easily type that number here and it would change. So I hope this concept is clear. Okay. The frame offset. You just have to see the frame from where you want the video to play from. And then you just type that number here. Okay. All right. So we have the image plane. Everything is fine. Let's get rid of the attribute editor. We don't want to see it anymore. I'll go back to the channel box. Now the channel box is visible. Okay. Now we need to get our ball. We'll be using the same ball rig that we used yesterday. So let me get the location. And I will create the reference. And now we have the ball. So you can see the image plane and the ball are overlapping right now. And we can see everything on both the sides. So we'll sort it out. Not an issue. So let's say if I wanted the video to start, Let's see on this side. Usually when I'm working, I keep one side completely for my references. I don't make any objects visible here. So I want to hide everything here and I just want to see the image plane. So it's very easy to do that. Uh, by the way, if someone is confused that we got a new viewport or something, it's not like that. It's the same viewport. We just have a different camera view. Okay, and we can control what we see in each of these views. So here, as I said, I just want to see the image plane, nothing else. So I'll click on show and we have this option here. I'll click on none. So now nothing is visible. Now I'll go back here, come down and click on image planes. You can see the shortcut Alt plus 4 because this is something that people use multiple times. So we have this shortcut. Okay, you don't have to remember it, but yeah, we have it. So I'll click on the image plane and now you can see the ball rig is there, but it's not visible. Why? Because we have simply hidden everything in this view. Okay. Now in this view, I just want to see the ball rig. I don't want to see the image plane. So I'll go here, hide everything. Then I'll go back to show. And first I will bring back the polygons so I can see the ball. And then I'll bring back the NURBS curve so I can see the controller. Okay. So that is done. Now we have the reference. We have our rig. Now you can see this grid pattern. So it's a little bit distracting. We can hide it. Now it's not visible. So everything is fine for us. Okay, so before I start animation, I need to create a floor because it's better to see the floor when you're animating a progressive ball bounce. Okay, so I'll create a plane and I will scale it up, making it a little bit longer because obviously the ball will be going forward in this direction. And I don't want to accidentally keep on selecting this floor that I created. So after selecting this, I'll go in the layer options, click on this last one. You can see it says create a new layer and assign selected objects. I'll just click on that. So now this layer has this object and I'll set it as a reference so that I don't accidentally select it. Okay. And we can hide the grid here as well. And you can see everything looks a little bit jagged. You can make it smoother by clicking on this. So now everything is nice and smooth and we can start the work. I want the ball to be a little bit smaller. Okay. And yeah, I won't be changing this right now. I will keep it as it is. Later on, we can change it. Okay. Yes, Ronit, we can import a video, but it makes viewport slow. I don't prefer that. As I said, AVI formats are like really heavy. So it is really unnecessary and we get much better control with image plane. So everyone should fix to this because it's better for your viewport. Okay. I personally had bad experiences with videos, so I don't use that. If you're like if in your system it works fine, then definitely go ahead and do that. But I don't like to work with it. And I've seen mostly everyone struggle with the video, so I literally stay away from it. Okay. All right. By the way, when we're animating, like obviously we won't be working in this viewport, but let's say for some reason you want to come here and like adjust some things and you don't want to accidentally select the image plane, then you can do the same thing that we did with this floor. First of all, I'll change the name of this layer, save that, and then I'll take the image plane, drop it into a layer, and set it to reference. So now we cannot select it. You can see like the video looks a little bit dark. So because of this ACES format, it looks a little bit dark. If you're using a video which has too much of darkness and nothing is visible, then you can change the image, this thing, sRGB thing, which basically tells us about the color data. Okay, it's nothing else. Just tells us about the color data. So you can just set it to untoned if something is not visible to you. But this one is fine, so I'll keep it at ACES. Okay. All right. So let's see this video once. I haven't played it yet. So you can see this person throws a ball very lightly, but it bounces so much. You can see the starting point of the ball was here, and within one bounce, the ball lost almost 40% of its energy. So you can see the height, like if you compare it, let me show you once. I'll make the polygons visible. Turn on wireframe. Actually, wait, I'll put it into a layer and turn on template. Okay. The height was this for the first bounce. And in the second bounce, you can see the ball goes almost 60% to the height. So when the bounces happen, the ball loses its energy and the height of the bounce decreases. Okay. So again, it's a simple thing, but we don't think about it much usually. Okay, so I will put the ball over here, bring it to a height so that it looks similar to this. Okay, and I will key this. Okay, so now Maya knows that we're animating. Now the way we'll do it is we'll be blocking things out. Now what does blocking means? We will be doing the poses which are required for the animation. Okay, like we know that Maya interpolates the in-betweens. That means this is a different pose and this is a different pose when the ball is on the ground. Okay, now if I just bring the ball down again over here, move it forward, you can see Maya is interpolating it, right? We don't have to go in between and add those in between poses. Okay, so that's why we won't be putting anything in between. Of course, we have to manipulate the arc. You can see there's no arc when it is falling down. It is going straight right now. That looks horrible because that doesn't happen. That's why it looks horrible. So we will adjust it, but not right now. We will first focus on the main contact poses. These are known as the contact poses, all right, because they decide the main parts of the animation. Okay, so let's do that. There's more about contacts. We will be discussing it with our ball characterization class because we'll be doing a little bit of storyboarding in it. So we'll discuss everything about these things in depth. Now, there's a little bit of an issue because like I'm bringing it down, but we don't have a proper guide because I know that I brought it down here, but it would be easier if I could see a path. If there was a path which would, which would show the ball's movement, it would be easier for us to animate because this ball is so small, right? And it's just going up and down, and also translating forward. So we have something like that. You just have to be in this animation menu, go to visualize and click on create editable motion trail. Okay. It's not visible right now. Why? Because we turned off everything. So even though I have created the motion trail, if you go to the outliner, you will see it. It's there. It's not visible right now. We can make it visible. Just go to show, go down here. You can see this motion trail option. Click on that. And now you can see it is showing a clear path of the motion of the ball. Okay, so this is really helpful when we're animating something like this. So don't worry about the this looking completely straight. We will fix it. First, we have to block out all the main poses. So I will bring it in a little bit. This looks better. A little bit more, I think. All right. So this is fine. I will key this by pressing S and I'll move forward. Now you can see this is again the highest point in this bounce over here. So you can see a couple of frames are there which have a similar height. So you can see 3 frames are there. You can actually choose the middle one, which is around 26, and put the ball at that point. Now, why does it look like the ball is basically floating here? That's because it got slowed down so much at the highest point. That's why it looks like that. And of course, we will edit the flow of it through the graph editor. Okay. Of course, Guru Ketan, we will do that. Don't worry. We cannot just straight away use the graph editor if we don't have the proper poses. So first we get the proper poses and then we go to the graph editor and adjust the flow of the animation. There's no point in first correcting this, then going like coming back here in the viewport, making another key, then going back to the viewport. That's not a good workflow. Okay. So let's key it here. I will pull it higher and move it forward. Okay. Now, if anyone has trouble doing this, you can actually put the ball here and take help of that. But I don't want students to do that because then people get into a habit of completely copying the reference. And that's something that we want to avoid. So that's why I'm not putting the ball here and following the flow of this video. Okay. All right. So this got down, this got high. You can see how bad it looks. Not a problem. Just like the ball bounce we did yesterday, we will correct it. Okay. And you can see I'm jumping through frames like this. We have 3 keys right now and you can see me jumping back and forth. So let me show you the actual button of it. So we have this button and it says step back 1 key. I think I have shown this before, but just showing it again. And we have this one for forward. So if I click on it, you can see it takes through the keys. And if I go back, you can see it's just jumping through the keys. So of course, coming here and doing that is not very efficient. So we have a shortcut for that. You can use the full stop key to move forward and you can use the comma key to move backward. Okay, so this helps. Because we have to go back and forth through the keys many times. That's why. Maniraja, if you want to track, then just do tracking. This is animation. So obviously you have to animate manually. Right? Though things are completely different. And it's very important to understand how to animate basic things like this. Because if you don't do that and you start working with a character, your work will be trash. It sounds rude, but that's exactly what happens. It happened with me too. Like when I started animation, I didn't have any guidance. I directly started with characters and it looked horrible. So we have to start with the most simple objects and then make things more complex. And this thing applies to everything in 3D. If you're making a sculpt, you start with a really low resolution work and then you keep on increasing the resolution according to the details that you add. Like if you draw something, you don't scribble hard on the paper, right? Because then you cannot go back and rub it off because it will be imprinted on the paper. So what we do when we're sketching or even when we're writing and if you want to rub it off, we do it with very light hands. So the point is when we're starting out something, we do it with complete basics. and then we improvise. Then we go forward. Like if you're building a house, you don't put a brick there, then you put a cement layer, then white cement layer, and you paint that brick, and then you put another brick. Right? That would be stupid because like it would make no sense. So first we put a proper layer of bricks, cover it with cement, cover it with white cement completely, and then we paint on it. People have this. I don't know. Lots of people don't understand this. They think about adding all the details at once. Just completely remove that thing from your mind. Okay. All right. So like even in this, I am breaking down everything because we will be rotating it as well. But right now we are only focusing on translation. Once we have done successful translation, then we'll add the rotation. And not rotation in all the axes. Like right now you can see the ball is rotating in all directions. Okay, mostly it is rotating in the forward direction, but it also rotates sideways as well a little bit. So when we do that, we will break it down in steps and then we'll move forward. Okay, so that it's easier for everyone to understand. Alright, so I'll quickly move forward, bring it down, move it forward again. And let's see where the highest point is. So around 47, bring it back up, move it forward. And then on 57 it comes down. You can see the ball is kind of floating. It's not actually hitting here. That's because the ball's movement is so fast and the person who recorded this video didn't have that kind of a camera to get that movement. So that's why that frame is missing. So it's okay. We can just take this one as our impact frame. Okay. I'll go back. This one was not moved forward a little bit, like not enough. That's why I went back and moved it forward. Looks better. Going ahead, pulling the ball higher, then moving it forward again. Bringing it back, moving it forward. So you can see like this ball bounces a lot. We will not do all the bounces. We'll do less than that. Okay. So let's see, 57, it goes high. Actually, I did this key at wrong position. It should be at 64. Now it's fine. Then it goes high again. Move it forward. Bring back. You can see this one is visible. Why? Because the ball has now slowed down. So everything is visible to us. Yes, exactly, Ronit. That happens. And this is the last bounce I'm doing, or maybe let's add 2 more bounces. And then what we'll do is we'll make the ball roll out instead of continuing the bounce, because obviously it's a repetitive thing. When you're doing it in your when you're practicing it, if you want, you can do all the bounces, but I will not do that as it will take forever. So this, I'll do this one and then one more after it. Then bring it down again. We're almost there. And the last bounce I will add here. You can see the height has reduced so much. Bring it back to 0. Okay. So if I play it right now, it obviously looks very horrible. We'll fix this. Also, as I said, I want the ball to roll out after this and not bounce anymore. So I'll go forward a few frames and then I'll move the ball forward. Okay, so it is bouncing and then it slowly moves forward. We'll adjust the speed of it and everything, keeping it as it is for now. Now the main work begins. We'll go to the graph editor and we'll go to translate Y because that's the main thing that we have to adjust. So you can see the curve looks very similar. Now this doesn't happen with every animation. This happens with this one because it's quite simple. It's just going up and down. That's why the curve looks like this. Okay. All right. So let's select all the keys. Actually, I don't want to break the top keys. I only want to break the bottom ones. There's a reason behind it. Why? Because at the top of the bounces, we want the ball to be slow, right? So if I break this tangent right now, I'll have to move these separately. But if I don't break them, I can just, expand it like this and it will work on both the sides. I'm doing it like this because we have to do it multiple times. So it's just something that saves us time, basically. Okay. By the way, I feel like this is a little high. I want this to be lower. I will bring this keyframe down and this one as well. And this one as well a little bit. Okay, now I think it's better. Alright, so I will select all the keys which are down over here because we want to be able to edit them on both the sides. I will break them. And to make things a little bit easier, we can actually click on linear tangents and it would make these a lot more straighter than what we have right now. I'll click on that. You can see instantly this helped us out a lot because we don't have to manually bring all of these up high. So this is already done for us, but it's not accurate enough because we want the ball to be faster when it's coming to the ground. So we'll make this a little bit more steeper and then we get a better speed. Okay, we'll do the same thing for all of these. Just raise these up and make them really steep. And I'm not explaining this again because we have covered this a lot in the last class. So I hope everyone understands why we're making it steeper. Let me know if you have a doubt about this and I'll explain. Okay, so if you see this now, the ball is definitely a little bit faster. But now the issue is that at the top, it's not slow enough. It should be slow at the top. Okay, so let's do that. We want to flatten it out. Why? Because we want it to be slower. So just make everything flat. And you can see this trail is not updating properly. So this happens sometimes in Maya, like if you're creating the animation, then it will update. But when you're working with the curves, the shape will not update. So I will delete this motion trail. We'll create it again later on. Right now, we just focus on the movement. So making it flat at the top so that it's slow. Okay. So let's see it now. So you can see that looks so much better. And now if I create the trail, you can see now we're getting an updated view of the trail. It was not getting updated before, but now we can see it. I'll hide the trail. So now we've done the translation. There's one thing that we haven't fixed yet, which is the forward translation of this part basically. So here, the speed initially should be fast and towards the end it should slow down because the ball is slowing down, right? So we'll go to translate X because translate Y is for the forward, the upward movement, and translate X is for the forward movement. So I will select these two last keys because this is the one I want to edit. And by selecting this, I will press F so I can zoom in on it. You can also zoom in like this. Like if you open it first, you get a zoomed out view of everything. But if you want to focus on a certain part, you can select and press F to focus. The same thing that we use for the viewport, we can do the same thing for the graph editor. Okay. So I want it to be faster over here and then slow it down properly. So I'll break the tangents and I will lift it higher so it's faster here and just want it to be more slower. So I'm flattening it a little bit more. So it is slowing down like this. Now, right now it's looking awkward because it's only translating. There's no rotation, so it looks very unnatural. But we'll definitely add rotation. Okay, so let's see. The rotation is definitely happening in the forward way. Along with that, it is rotating sideways as well. Okay, so if we do everything together, we'll be confused. So we will break it down and first only add forward rotation and then we can add the sideways rotation. Okay, so I'll bring back the controller, go to the graph editor, and I will select all these rotations. Because I pressed S, I have keys on all of these. This is a problem because if I rotate on this one, okay, you can see it brings it back to the next frame. So this is annoying. We don't want this. So that's why we'll go to the rotations and we'll delete all the keys. Make sure to not select the translation, otherwise you'll lose your animation. I'll undo this and show it again. Just select your rotations, click and delete. Okay, so your translation is saved, but the keys from the rotation is gone. Now we'll do it fresh. I'll press S here so that it is logged, because if you don't do that, then obviously if you keep on changing, nothing will happen. So we have to actually press S on the first key. So now you can see it is red, it has the key. But on the first frame itself, I want it to be slightly rotated. And I'm making sure to only work with rotate Z as it's the forward rotation for the ball. Okay. So I rotated it a little bit. And now I'll go forward and rotate it more. Now if I hit play, you can see rotation is happening. So I'll undo this actually. You can see, like if over here on the 14th frame, if I rotated it too much, it would look a little bit weird because that much rotation doesn't happen. If it's going, like if it's a ball which is going at extremely high speed, then maybe you can do that. But our ball is not going at that kind of a high speed. So we will not add too many rounds of rotation. Okay. Also, the rotation speed varies as well. After the bounce, like basically near the bounce area, the speed of the rotation is more. And then it slows down at the top and then it increases again at the bottom. Okay. It gets energy from the floor, from the ground, and therefore it rotates more. Okay, and that's why the speed of translation is also more. So same thing applies for rotation as well. This is why I'm doing it like this. I'm breaking everything down so that we can edit the rotation curves over here without any issue. So I rotated it like this. Now I'll go forward, rotate it again, come down here, rotate it. As soon as you see that the height is decreasing, the rotation you apply will also decrease. Like right now, you can see it's really slow. The ball is obviously getting slow as it's not jumping that high. So you reduce the speed of the rotation. That means you don't add too many turns. I'll actually do this again so that there's no confusion. I'll delete all these and I'll do it again. So this one will have the maximum rotation because it's jumping from such a height. Okay, and then here also we'll have a good amount of rotation. And here as well, as it's still fairly high coming down from such a height. Now from this bounce, we will reduce the amount of rotation we're applying. Maybe not this much. Okay, now it's fine. Rotate it again. And now I'll reduce it further. It's a little too less. I'll increase it a little bit more. You can definitely follow this video for rotation. And because this is having that football pattern, initially only you can set it as a football. So it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so if you're having trouble doing the rotation, you can take the reference from this. Okay. All right. Rotate it. We cannot do 180-degree for all because I'm reducing it. Otherwise, the rotation will be same for all. So that's why. So now you can see I'm reducing it even more. So you can see the rotation. And now the ball is on the floor. When you, like if a ball is on the floor and you just push it, it translates further and it rotates as well. So we need to add rotation here. This is a little too much for the amount it is moving. Now you can see this looks much more natural. If I add too much of rotation, you can see it looks so weird because the ball is not moving that much forward. So if we add too much of rotation, it will look unnatural. And also we will not just stop the ball like this because the ball doesn't just stop like this in reality. It goes like it rotates forward and then it rotates backward and then it stops. So this is something which is known as dampening of motion. It can also be called as a cushion effect. Okay, so nothing completely stops abruptly like this. The way I've stopped it right now, that doesn't happen. Okay, it will always go forward, come back a little bit, then go forward and then come back and stop. So that forward and backward thing is always there whenever you're trying to stop any object. It cannot just instantly stop because of the energy which is there in the body. Okay, so energy doesn't just dissipate completely suddenly. So I have moved it forward here. I'll go forward a few frames and slightly bring it back because the ball is already so slow. We don't have to dampen it so much. We don't have to move it backward and forward so much. Just doing it once will suffice for this example. Okay. Many times we only add this dampening or cushion effect once, depending on the speed. If something is at a really high speed, then of course when it stops, if you're trying to stop it forcefully, it will jiggle back and forth. Here the ball has lost a lot of energy because of the bounces. So it doesn't have to go back and forth that much. For exaggeration purposes, you can always add that effect. And we will be doing that in our ball characterization class. Okay. So I moved it forward and backward. Now you can see I only translated it. 1 second. So I only translated it forward. Again, that looks off because it's a round ball. Of course, it will rotate. So when it was going forward, the rotation was forward. Now the ball is going backward, so the rotation will be backward. So you can see, I'll zoom in here. So you can see what happened. It went forward and then backward. Okay. So is this clear to everyone? Any confusion? Okay, all right. So now we can edit the speed of this rotation. So we'll go to the graph editor and we have only rotated it in rotate Z. And we haven't rotated it too much. That's why you can see there are not many highs and lows over here. Okay. So we will do some minor adjustments here, but I think we should keep it till here because it will be a little too much for all the new ones as we've already edited this quite a bit for the translation, the Y translation and the X translation. So I think we should keep it till here. In the next class, we will edit the rotation so that we can control the speed. The timing we have decided, but the spacing needs to be edited because when the rotation is near the ground, it will be faster. So we will edit that. Okay. So definitely, if anyone wants to try this out, you can go ahead and do that because it's the same concept that we used for translation. When it was closer to the ground, we made the curve steeper. So we'll do the same thing with rotate Z. Now this doesn't look very comfortable because the amount of movement is less, but still we have to do it because that slight movement is also very much visible. So that's why we will be editing this. Okay. So any confusions? Let me know. I'll show it again. Otherwise, we'll keep the class till here only. Okay. Uh, in the next class, we will also do the squishy ball bounce for this. We'll convert this into a squishy ball bounce, just like we did yesterday. Okay. So let's keep it till here then. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. Sahil, the motion blur I showed is only for the viewport. It's not for rendering. For rendering, you have to do it through the camera. The viewport rendering will not show up. The viewport motion blur will not show up in the render. Okay, so you have to do it differently. I use V-Ray, so I don't know what you use. So I can show in V-Ray, not a problem. Yes, Aman, I will send the image sequence. Don't worry. Okay, I'll stop the recording now.